Hello and welcome back to my channel. We are back today with another One Championship video. A video that is probably too early in the year, but I will explain why in just a second. Before we dive into the most surprising moments of the year so far in One Championship, I should briefly say that a lot of the content that used to go up on this channel is in various places, as is always the case. The scrap is the main place to go if you want to see more of my stuff. I tend to cover more UFC stuff over there. I've got a series called Devil's Advocate where I argue for an underdog in a fight and why I think they can win the fight. I do some other stuff here and there. I'm going to put a video up on there hopefully in the coming days. It might already be up by the time this video is, about Paul Hughes, the Irish fighter in Cage Warriors that everyone is screaming to be in the UFC already. All that good stuff. On this channel, I think we're going to keep it One Championship orientated unless there's something that I specifically want to talk about, because most of my stuff, like I said, will go up on the Scrap or various other channels. Let me know in the comments what you think about that. If you would rather I keep it to a One Championship stuff, or if you want to see more promotions and stuff covered, then we can make that happen. But I need you guys to let me know what you want to see, and then I can do that for you. Of course, a huge part of this channel has been the One Fight Night previews, and that's all well and good, but when they're once a month, it leaves the channel being pretty inactive for a long time when those events aren't around the corner. And the events kind of, the videos that I do recapping the events and things like that never seem to grab a lot of people and stuff like that, so it's difficult to know what to put on this channel, hence why we're doing a top 10 video early in the year. But I think that there's enough here to dive into, so I think we'll be okay. I'm planning on maybe doing these list videos in between the Fight Night videos, but if there's other stuff that you want to see me cover, then give me a shout in the comments, like I said, and we can make that happen. Anyway, top 10 surprises of the year in One Championship. This is not in any particular order, and I know you might be thinking why, but the reason for that is, if you are watching this video, you make it to the end, all that good stuff, drop me a like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Like I said, I want you to leave in the comments which are your top 3 in order, and I'll drop mine in as well if you guys let me know what you're thinking. But let's start by diving into them. The first point that I've got when putting this list together, I went through all the Fight Night events. Of course, there will be stuff I've missed. I can't go back and watch One Friday fights. There's so many events and there's so many fights. So I stuck mostly to the Fight Night cards because it's just easier that way. It just narrows it down so much. First thing on the list, Alicia Helen Rodriguez's return against Janet Todd at One Fight Night 8. Now, don't get me wrong, I was a big fan of Alicia Helen Rodriguez when she first came into One Championship, but with, I think it was about 2.5 years off to give birth to her son, I didn't expect her to look as good as she did when she came back against Janet Todd, the interim atomweight Muay Thai world champion. Rodriguez came back and looked the same as when she left, if not better, and that I think is incredibly difficult to do when you've had that much time off and everything that goes with that. She spoke a lot about how she thought she might have to retire and things like that. Like, it's a crazy story, and she's come back and put on a hell of a performance against Janet Todd to unify the division, and I didn't expect her to look the same as when she left. Moving on, this is a fight that I am sure will make a lot of these list videos because I am still in awe of it, even though it was the first Fight Night of the year. I'm of course talking about the main event of One Fight Night 6, where Chingiz Alazov knocked out Super Bon to claim the One Featherweight Kickboxing World Championship. Am I surprised that Chingiz Alazov won the fight? No, because it was a very close matchup on paper and either guy could have taken it. Did I expect it to be a one-sided performance in either guy's favour? No. And did I expect one of them to get knocked out cold after a dominant performance? Hell no. Chingiz Alazov has had a great year. I think that his fight, again, his performance against Grigorian will probably appear on some lists as well. But that Super Bon knockout, of course you know Chingiz Alazov and Super Bon have got the capability to do that to anyone in the world, but I can't believe how he shut out Super Bon for like the entire fight whilst it lasted, and then just dismantled him with that knockout. It was a thing of beauty. moving on to the next point, I'm going to put these two next points together. I know it's top 10. They are two separate points, but they're kind of on a similar note. And that is fights that I didn't think we would see this year. Let's start with... We'll start with Arjun Bula and Anatoli Malakin, the heavyweight fight that it never seemed we were going to get. Of course, Bula being the one heavyweight world champion who won it from Brandon Vera and didn't fight for another 2.5 years, I think. Malakin beat all the top contenders in the heavyweight division and then won the interim title, and then we had the fight and it got rebooked. And then I think we had the fight again and it got rebooked. And I just didn't ever know if we were going to get it. I thought they were going to strip Arjun Bula of the title after he pulled out of the fight. But we finally got it on one of the Friday Fights cards. I believe it was one Friday Fights 22. And Malakin put on an absolutely dominant performance before stopping Bula and unifying the belts. But for a while there, I didn't think we were going to get it. And the same could be said for Tang and Superlek. Now, of course, we only had this fight scheduled one time this year, one Fight Night 8, and then it got rebooked for one Friday Fights 34. But how long have people been wanting to see this fight and not getting it, you know? Insane. And for it to deliver the way it did, that was unsurprising. I had a feeling we were going to be in for something special. That's why people wanted to see it so badly. But just watching it, it was like, I can't believe we're actually seeing it. So admittedly, not a moment that, you know, makes you, I don't know, stand up. Actually, I don't know. I probably did stand up and cheer at my TV when they started trading with each other. Yeah, there was a while there where I wasn't sure if we were ever going to get that fight. Some of the things that Tang said made me think we weren't going to get it. But Superlek kept pushing for it. Fair play to him. And One Championship did too. So we got it in the end. Let's go to... That can't be right. Oh, okay. Sorry, I got confused with my own notes. It happens sometimes. Let's talk about One Fight Night 14. Something that we knew was going to happen was Angela Lee being at the event. Originally, I thought that she was going to show up at the end of the main event and set up a unification fight and announce her return. And boy, was I wrong, because Angela Lee retired from MMA right before the main event, vacated her one atomweight world championship after some difficult days and weeks leading up to the event, where she had spoken a lot about the struggles she's gone through in her life and career, and of course the passing of Victoria Lee. But it just didn't cross my mind that Angela Lee was going to retire in that moment. I did have a feeling for a while that she probably wasn't going to fight again, but when it was announced that she'd be back at One Fight Night 14, my mind went straight to, oh, she's going to come back and fight, not that she would retire completely and vacate the title. But as sad as it was, also an incredible moment to see her get that support from the fans in Singapore was a beautiful thing. One of the biggest upsets in terms of fights of the year, Jonathan Haggerty stopping Nongo Hama at One Fight Night 9. Talk about finishes you didn't see coming. Nongo was on a dominant streak as the one bantamweight Muay Thai world champion. I believe it was 9 fights he had run in a row inside the circle. Haggerty comes in. Of course, he moved up to the bantamweight division as a former flyweight champion in Muay Thai. Didn't look all that great against, was it Vladimir Kuzmin that he fought on his debut? I didn't think he looked that great. I thought that fight was very, very close. And so going up against Nongo, I was like, okay, that's a quick jump to the top of the division. And you gotta love the General. Of course, one of my favourite fighters in One Championship. But did I expect him to stop Nongo in the first round at Lumpini? No, I didn't. That was an incredible moment. To go back to standing up in front of your TV and cheering, that is one of them of this year for sure. Another one came at One Fight Night 10, where Sebastian Kadastam knocked out Roberto Soich. This is another case of talking about Chingiz Alazov and Superbon. Did I think that Sebastian Kadastam could win this fight? Yeah, of course, Sebastian Kadastam is a very, very good fighter, but I thought that Solich would probably get the win. Kadastam, we knew, was capable of this, but maybe not to this extent. I didn't expect him to be able to take some of Solich's shots the way he did, and then to just stop him, and yeah, that was it's definitely a fight of the year contender, and it is a fight that had me screaming and jumping about all over the place. Incredible fight, and I didn't see Kazakhstan pulling that off, especially after watching the first round. We also had Sage Northcutt's return. Talk about things you didn't think you would see in 2023. Not only that, the way he did it is why this makes the list. I thought he was rocked by Ahmed Mushtaba, and I was like, oh no, Sage, this is not going to plan. And then he pulls off a heel hook submission, proving that everything he said in the build-up about how confident he is, how he's been working on his skills relentlessly through this time off, and he did it. He secures a heel hook submission at One Fight Night 10 in May. I couldn't believe it. I was gobsmacked, and I'm excited to see Sage back in there. Talk about heel hook submissions. Another one that happened very, very recently. One Fight Night 15. Tan Lee submitting Ilya Freemanov. Two knockout artists in one championship, and it ends in less than a minute by a heel hook. Need I say any more? But I just didn't expect Tan Lee to get a submission. I believe it's the second of his career, and his first submission was ages ago. Both of them have crazy knockout ratios, and then, you know, if you told me that it ended in a minute, I would have been like, oh, who knocked who out? But for a heel hook submission, nope. Didn't see it coming. And finally, one that I think will probably make the top 3 for most people in terms of most surprising moments of the year. This happened right at the start of the year. Was Takeru Sagawa signing to One Championship. We talk about the fights that we didn't think we would see, the returns we didn't think we would see, all that good stuff. Did we ever think we would see Takeru in One Championship? Probably not. And it happened. It finally happened. Admittedly, we haven't had his debut this year, and that would have made it even more sweet. I'm hoping maybe we get it before the end of the year. Looks unlikely. Probably next year. But I never expected to see him sign with the promotion and for everything to be in motion for him to debut inside the circle. So seeing that news for the first time was like a fever dream. It was like, that must be fake. I had to check it multiple times, and I still kind of don't believe it until we see the debut, but there it is. Like I said, guys, in the comments, let me know what your top 3 most surprising moments of the year so far are in One Championship. Is there any fight you've got your eye on coming up in the remainder of the year that you think could provide another one that could put itself into this list? Let me know. And again, let me know what you want to see on this channel, whether it's One Championship content in between the Fight Night previews or some other stuff. Then I might chuck out some ideas, some videos here and there, see how they do, and make a plan going forward. But yeah, thank you for checking out this video. I'll catch you on the next one.